You guys got home pumped, and I remember saying I was desperately wanting Oscar to have a bit of spark in his life, in his eyes, and say that he was interested or excited by something. And I remember saying, how was David? And he just looked at me and he said, yeah, look, David was great, but there was this other guy, G. And I'll never forget it because I'm like, what? Because in my mind, I thought it was just David Goggins as well.
Money isn't the root of all evil. The fucking lack of it is.
Not money, the lack of understanding money.
When I put that into emphasis, when I realised that psychological effect and how it hit our family, I FTB all the fucking way.
You are now watching the Money Mentor podcast.
They were told no by the banks, drowning in debt and completely in the dark about money, a home, an investment, and a system that wasn't working. Then they found infinity. In February 2022, David and Jackie made a decision to take control. They paid off their home loan in just 4 months. Today, they own 5 investment properties, have 3 income streams, take multiple family holidays each year, and run a successful business. But this story doesn't stop with them. At just 16, their son Oscar lost a close friend and went searching for purpose. He learned something from Graeme that school never taught him: how money really works. He left school, started working in a trade, saved relentlessly. 2 jobs, 60-hour weeks. And in November 2025, his hard work paid off, and Oscar bought his first investment property. This is a family rewriting their future and teaching the next generation to do the same. This is David, Jackie, and Oscar, and this is an inspirational story you need to hear.
Welcome back to another episode of the Money Mentor, and today we have the beautiful part of the beautiful Cherry family here. We have David, Jackie, and Oscar. Hello, how are we?
Hello.
Fantastic, thanks, G.
Good. Thanks for joining us again, and we thought we'd pop you together this time to talk all things life, health, wealth, finance, family, etc. I want to start with, we've done a couple of podcasts, so we've done them, David and Jackie together, Oscar on his own. We thought we'd do one together today. Going back in time for any new viewers or listeners, just a quick version, how did you find infinity? When did you find infinity? And why were you searching for something like infinity?
Sure. So Jackie and I were not dealing well with finances. We had some pretty bad debt built up. We were living a good life, enjoying travel and things like that. But it come through, I suppose, just a moment in time where we had a bit of diversity within the family. Young Oscar was feeling a little bit sort of down about life and sort of where to go forward. He'd had a bit of a tragic experience with a young lady in his life. So as part of that, as parents, we decided, what can we do to try and move forward? And lovely young Oscar said that David Goggins, motivational speaker, was going to be on in Melbourne. So I got some tickets and we went down to that.
Did you put them on the credit card?
I certainly did tap the credit card to do that, absolutely. And look, it was an incredible experience. I might get Oscar to talk to it really. It was just a way of us sort of rebonding back, just giving him a bit of a light to say that, life is great, can be anything you wish it to be. And give him a wire, a purpose. He was just sort of flat. He was ticking along at school and nothing really was sort of, I suppose, filling his cup. It wasn't giving him an opportunity to move forward.
So they would have had a whole heap of speakers that day, because I know that by the time I came on, I was the last speaker before David Goggins, and they were livid. They were screaming, "We want Goggins," chanting Goggins, and saying in the crowd, "We're going to boo anyone else. If another person comes on stage, we'll boo them off stage." It was pretty full on, because I'm hearing it backstage going, "Oh, this is pretty wild."
I mean, it was right next door to the DFO, so everybody was sort of going out for food or shopping. And you all but was sort of wound up before. There was a gentleman that stood up in the stage. He actually told him to sit down, because I think he just wanted to take a whiz.
Take a leak.
Absolutely.
Poor guy.
Well, let's talk to that for a second. So Oscar, how did you find that at the time things were a bit tough, very tough, and obviously you went along to that with Dad?
Yep.
How did you find that day listening to, there's obviously various speakers, so different industries, whether it's investments or business or life or health.
Yep.
What did you take from that day?
Yep. It was very broad. I don't know if I was the only one that went to the event, but I think we all might have assumed that the whole day was just David Goggins.
Yeah. Right.
I certainly didn't think that we'd go there and there would be 4 or 5, 6 speakers before David. But it was interesting. I guess when you go, you've paid for the ticket, you sort of want to sit down, you want to try and be involved. But a lot of the speakers, especially most of them before you, just didn't relate to anything that we needed. Maybe other people might need what they were trying to sell, but for us it was quite boring. It didn't really set any sparks off, and we kind of were a bit hungry, we were a bit frustrated. We're like, where's David Goggins? I think he was running behind. And then we had a quick look in the book, and there was this Graeme Holm guy coming next. And no offense, we had no idea who you were and what you did or anything, but we were thinking maybe this is the time where we'll get up, we'll go have some food, and then we'll come back and
Surely
watch David.
David's after that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But something like, I remember getting out of my seat and sort of getting ready to leave, and something in Dad, he must have read there was a financial aspect to your speech and what you were sort of going there to talk about. And he wanted to stay. He wanted to listen to the start of you, and he just, something in him told him to stay and watch and see what you had to offer.
Well, Jackie and I have always been interested in property investment. When we were younger, we had a real crack.
Right.
Unfortunately, we got it all wrong. But, we still enjoyed that journey. And, I genuinely knew that our finances were in disorder.
Right.
Jackie would hide a lot of that from me. She'd sit up in the wee hours of the morning sort of trying to juggle bills and pay things off just to protect my mental health, to be honest. Very proud dad of 5 young boys, and always worked hard but not smart. And lacking that financial literacy. I think that was the key. There was just something within me. And then when you walked out on stage, honestly, you're so raw, you're so real. Lots of profanities, and I make no excuses for anybody out there that's going to watch this, because that's what draws every single one of your clients and the larger community to Graeme, isn't it?
You were real. You were different compared to anyone else that spoke that day. That it was just, you could tell when you were speaking that you weren't trying to sell anything.
Well, I didn't do a sales pitch.
You didn't
You did
I got
honestly,
to
mate.
Ian and said, look, I've got
Absolutely.
something to offer you, but I think you've copped it all day.
Yeah,
That's right.
So I'm actually fucking not going to bother.
Absolutely.
You weren't fussed if people signed up or not. You just went out there. You told them what you can do for them, and if they're interested, sign up. And by
And
geez,
just key takeaways, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There was just light bulb moments that you would speak to. And then I think the polish for me, truly high respect to Megan and Jeremy, watching them live, meeting them downstairs when I signed up. Real people, real stories, just gave the credibility to what you'd said on stage. And, Oscar and I come home and, we're very celebrative. We enjoyed David Goggins. It was amazing. Don't get me wrong. It switched Oscar back onto that physical presence of wanting to move forward. But,
It
as
wasn't the
we'll
focus.
explain.
It wasn't the outcome.
That's right.
You guys got home pumped, and I remember saying I was desperately wanting Oscar to have a bit of spark in his life, in his eyes, I mean, and say that he was interested or excited by something. And I remember saying, how was David? And he just looked at me and he said, yeah, look, David was great, but there was this other guy, G. And I'll never forget it, because I'm like, what? Because in my mind, I thought it was just David Goggins as well. I didn't anticipate other speakers either.
and to be honest, I knew sort of that, I was only 16 at the time, so I knew sort of the concept was finances and helping you build your foundations and create a better life overall for yourself. But I just genuinely thought you were a cool dude. Like, I just,
Oh, stop.
I was like, and I said to Mum, we went there for Goggins and he was really cool, but we left with
We
Graeme.
left with Graeme.
So
So I'm like, who's this Graeme? What? And then David said, and don't get mad,
I
because
put money on the
There's
credit
just
card.
a little money to go forward again.
he let me have the moment of, oh, thank gosh, Oscar's looking a bit brighter. He's got some spark in his eye. And then he sort of said, oh, by the way, I tapped the last of the credit card to pay for
And
a
even
weekend
listening to you,
class.
just this realization that this little piece of plastic that I really didn't understand what was going on or how it was paid or how it worked. Unfortunately, through a beautiful marriage and a great relationship, my wife had protected me for some 30 years about those responsibilities. And I'm proud to admit that, because I'm a complete different person now with having 3 years under my belt in infinity.
We've done a full circle.
And I think that's what we're trying to get across to the rest of the beautiful public out there is, if you absolutely listen and learn what you've got to say and the wider team the staff in this, you can change your life and you can change your finances dramatically.
And I think it needs to be said that, yes, that was a turning point for Oscar and he was excited. But after the masterclass, that was when our life started to really take a big, sharp turn, because we listened to the masterclass and we absolutely loved you. And I just remember just saying to David, this is everything we could have ever wanted, because I was a little bit cranky about the credit card and the weekend and what are we doing and who is this guy. But as soon as I started listening to you, I'm like, that makes so much sense. And since we've been involved in Infinity, so many people say the same things. It makes sense. But we weren't doing it.
Yeah, well, there's thousands of us doing the same thing because it works.
100%. And what happened at the very end, we were cutting up our credit cards, as most people do after the masterclass. And we were so pumped. And it wasn't ever about us looking for something. We weren't looking for you. Oscar found you. But it was beautiful because at the end of the class, Oscar had come in and out. All the kids they'd all had a bit of a listen of what's going on, because it was really random for us to be doing this weekend class. It's not the normal thing for a family to do, right?
Well, as all excuses are, we've got sport here, we've got pickups,
And we
drop-offs,
did,
I need
of
to
course.
cook. No.
Oh, we get hundreds, and I don't get to manage the socials anymore, but I see it. But the team get hundreds of messages. Hey, I've looked at your dates for the next 3 months and we're busy.
Yeah.
Can we have a meeting? And it's like, no, we haven't taken meetings for 7 years,
That's
6 years, right? Like, if you want something amazing, you're going to have to sit your ass down and commit to it.
Do the work.
Totally.
And
That's
that's
got a
what we've
money back
learnt.
guarantee. So realistically, after 6 to 8 hours, if you don't have a mathematical improved position, you get all your money back and you burnt half a day or a day.
And everybody goes off to their job. They don't get to do that. So sit down, head down, bum up and get into it.
It's a big message from Infinity that you have to do the work. There's no easy fix. And that's kind of the point to what I'm saying with the masterclass. Oscar come to us and said, I can see you're making big changes, Mum and Dad, and I think he said, Mum, I want to ask you something. I don't think he was worried too much about Dad. And he looked at us both and he said, I'm going to quit school. And in that moment, I thought, no, you're such a brilliant...
He was asking Mum because you've got the tertiary...
Yeah, exactly. And I could see he's in year 11 and he was doing really well in engineering. I had this kind of vision that he might go that direction.
Yeah.
And he was just so top 10%. And I said to him, you need to really think about this. And he said, I've never been more sure in my life.
It's just the fact that Graeme said in his masterclass, you said that you don't get taught these things at school, and that's what really related with me.
Kiyosaki says it all the time. I spend a lot of time with him and speaking to us that the memorizations of answers in a textbook is not a formal education. 100%. They consider it formal education, but it's not so a lot of it is not applicable in day-to-day life, and they're changing that. Thankfully, the education system is slowly, a bit archaic, but I guess evolving. But whereas like real life experience or being on the tools or having a job and being leaving and being 2 years ahead of your peers who end up with a HECS debt and then can't get a job in their chosen field.
Well, that's right. And I said to Oscar, what do you want to do? You want to leave school to do what? And he said, I want to work with Dad and I want to earn money so I can do what I've just been listening to Graeme talk about.
I want to get out there and I want to build my own story, my own foundation, and I want to prove that I've got something as well that I can show the world.
Well, let's go back for a second. So this was coming out of COVID, 2022 as the world were Feb 2022 as the world sort of slowly opened up again.
We're near Melbourne-based Victorians, so we were locked up worst in the world.
It
was tough times. I homeschooled 5 kids. Jackie was working at the front of healthcare, and the boys were pretty disrupted.
Okay. So back then, Oscar 16, year 11 at school, big family, all boys. And pretty rough, and they're obviously business, healthcare, etc. COVID. Financially, what was life like for anyone who hasn't heard any of our other podcasts, and they can go back and listen to them? What was life like financially at that point in time? Obviously, Oscar was going through some stuff at the time, but financially as a family, we had a mortgage, we had credit cards. What was life like?
It's embarrassing to sort of say now, but I know it helps a lot of people. We had 2 credit cards, and the limits for both credit cards added up to $73,000. Okay. We also had a mortgage of $190.
$190, one a principal place of residence.
And we juggled. We really did, especially over COVID when David wasn't working as much, and I was still part-time. Looking back, I actually don't know. I don't really know how we did it, to be honest, but we did, and we justified still going on lots of trips. We always have travelled as a family.
Yeah, so, that common theme that people lie to themselves because they just don't understand we'd tap the credit card
Do you
for
think-
everything.
do
So
you
we
think
thought
it's
we
easier
cleared
for-
it every few months.
Well, do you think it's easier to lie to yourself and
course
get a
it
bit
is.
of insight?
100%.
Lie to yourself and get ice cream for the night, or lie to yourself and just order takeaway or pizza.
David would do that. I'd work the weekend and he'd buy the kids Maccas and think that was bonding and that's a treat and that's nice. And I'd be like, oh man, it's just.
I had no better literacy or understanding of how to do better or how to dig myself out. So I would just treat everybody in the spare of the moment.
And do you remember
just
when
quick
we cut?
fixes.
Do you remember when we cut the cards up? We were so excited, and then after we cut it, we're like, "Oh my god, how are we gonna like that?" suddenly
Another
with-
common
with-
occurance, geez.
How we-
Chopped up, how are we going to tap
we
it
thought,
to pay
we
for
thought
the
it was our
further
lifeline.
steps?
How do we pay for the rest? How do we pay for our life
How do we
after
put
this?
petrol in the car?
Yeah,
tomorrow?
but hang on
How
a
do we buy the
minute.
grocery? How do we get Macca's?
Absolutely.
But it was the start of the learnings for us with Infinity. It was the start of many,
There's
many.
no
many,
return
many.
there unless you start
No.
putting the card
That's
pieces
right.
back
And,
together.
It
You know,
was-
we had one investment property, which
Yeah.
I had some emotional attachment to. And what we'd sort of done there is I had my dad in there, it's 21 years later. So we'd started out with a very simple sort of, I'd hand built it. We owed 50K. And we redrew to keep him in that home. It ended up at $250,000 worth of debt.
Yeah.
So
slowly,
absolutely,
right.
because again, the banks just would contact us and say, "Would you like to redraw? There's been a property increase in the equity,"
That's
and we're
very-
like, "This is fantastic." So we'd slip
That's
into
right.
cruise 10K. We'd pay
So
for
you're
some
living
dental
on-
for kids.
So living on borrowed money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which some people out there say is a strategy. Fuck, anyway. There's companies that say, oh, just use your equity and it's cheap
and
money
there was
and don't pay
never
it
once, G, a conversation with husband and wife around the table or over a spreadsheet of what we were ever aiming for or where we were going.
off. Just going through the
We
motions.
did go a
Absolutely.
couple, probably 3 or 4 times. We did go to the bank and we did say we want to clear this debt. COVID's done. We did, David completely built a pool complex out the back over COVID, so we tapped the card to build that. That's why the credit cards were so high. But I remember saying to David, "Let's go back to the bank and get all this cleared and get back on track. This is crazy. Refinance, get the extra money that you get for refinancing." But
Clear that. Because 73 grand of cards at
Yeah.
15-20%,
Nuts.
that hurts.
Gives me a chest
You're
pain.
never going to
All
pay
we were
that
doing was
down.
paying interest.
But you know what,
Absolutely.
G, they wouldn't listen to me. They wouldn't help us because David worked for himself but didn't earn an income on paper, so that's relevant. Didn't pay tax. So the banks laughed at me. I literally walked out crying because they wouldn't help me. They wouldn't give me any idea on what I could do to get out of what we had done. You know what they did do though? They said we could increase your credit card limit.
Give you more
Absolutely.
unsecured
Yeah.
credit.
And
Yeah.
give her another 12 months interest free.
And I'm like, that's not what I want.
Did no one at any point in time suggest the sale of the other property,
No, never ever.
which you did eventually sell?
Straight away.
Absolutely. Yep.
Within 4 months. First meeting we had with Lou.
We truly believe the universe shines on us in a lot of ways and things align themselves, such as, through diversity for Oscar and in a bit
Meeting
of a dark
you.
moment, meeting
Yep.
you. And going with Oscar. I could have went with Jack, I could have went with some of the other kids, probably wouldn't have left with G because I wouldn't have been able to justify affording the masterclass. But with that said, my dad had his second big stroke and finally he'd agreed to go into aged care facility, which is a much better
Yeah.
place for him. He's thriving in there.
so we couldn't
He's
sell
loving
it.
it?
Oh, he's loving it.
We
It's
couldn't sell it while he
exceptional.
was in it.
Behaving himself in there?
Absolutely. He's
Train him up.
healthier. He gets along well. So everything aligned. And then we could sell this dog of a property, to be honest. It was making no money. All we'd done is redrawn on it.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful moment in
Yeah,
time.
it was
Like,
so good.
through your advice, and it was straight up advice. I'll never forget Lou was on the Zoom.
I should have just given you another loan button, got the
Of
commission.
course,
Yeah,
just
just
one commission off
refinance
and never
it.
see us
Yeah.
again.
It
So,
doesn't make sense to tell you to sell that and have no debt. Where am I going to get an earn?
Precisely. You spoke about that in the Both Sides podcast. And, that's that key moment. So you could have got one quick brokerage. The bank could have just left us in that situation. Whereas beautifully, as you'll go on to talk about, we sold that. We cleared all debt in 4
We
months
had
of your
extra.
advice.
We had extra in the bank,
We
didn't
had
we?
a positive figure in the bank. Credit cards gone.
Everything was
Zero
gone.
owing on our principal place of residence. And then we come to our first event, like a purchasing event, and we left with 3 properties.
Oscar, when mum and dad sold the other property,
Yep.
and Pop's got into care, obviously he's thriving there, which is great.
Absolutely.
It doesn't always work like that.
Yeah.
Once mum and dad sold that property, cleared the debt, and there's cash in the bank and the cards are gone, I want you to share with people tuning in at home, was anything different? Did it feel different as kids? Because you've got varying ages. Did anything change? What was the dynamic like? Was it the same? Talk to that. What did or didn't change from your perspective?
Yeah, from
It's
the
easy for mum and dad to say.
absolutely from the kids' perspective, I feel like we could all sense there was a lot of concern. They've joined this new company. They've told them to sell the property. I feel like there's a lot of change within the family dynamic,
Change is always scary.
Change is very scary for sure. But I feel like once they saw what come out of that and that the debt's going down, and I feel like from the kids' perspective, we could see a significant change in happiness and not worrying about, sorry, we can't do that, or like just the arguments about money, or that a lot would change around the house. Mum and dad we would do family thing. We'd go to the park together. It would be lots of different things than we usually would do prior to meeting you guys.
Okay.
And we started cooking together.
We started cooking together.
Prepping.
We started going to the supermarket with dad and selecting the right ingredients and foods rather than buying everything we want. We'd say, okay, on Tuesday we're having bolognese together. Let's cook that together.
Right.
The whole dynamic of our family changed from simple adjustments.
Yeah.
So it's weird to think when we didn't have any money, we lived on the backside of our pants and chaotic and limited time together and takeaway and this and that. But yet when we were flush with money, we went the other way and we spent time together.
Isn't
and we
that
gained
crazy?
structure so literally we were full of excuses before because the
100%.
steps that
Without
we're
question.
taking now to be comfortable, to have a great life and all these changes
Yeah.
are what you should have done back then.
know.
Yet you didn't.
We grew so much closer as a family.
Absolutely.
We weren't distant anymore. Like there would always be something secrets or something hidden between the parents and the children. And I feel like being open and speaking about it and having confidence in what they're doing brought us all closer in everything we do.
And it's not like we said no to things anymore. Like like Damon, one of our sons, said he wanted an Xbox, we said that's fine. How are you going to get that? Like it wasn't just no worries, mate. We'll buy that for you. He worked out what he could do before he got a job, and like you said, like we've said in the past, he started mowing lawns, things like that. He worked to get the money himself, and then he appreciated it better.
Do you think society's lost the ability to delay gratification to earn and deserve something? Do you think we've
Absolutely, G.
lost
So-
that in this
Absolutely.
technology era?
You know, I'd put on 15 kilos over that 10, 20-year period. I, unfortunately, can only be honest to say that I would lie to my beautiful life partner and wife, because before we had the electronic bank statements and the auditability of it, and me being a tradie, I used to do a lot of cashies. So I'd physically cheat and lie. I'd go out and do a cashy, I'd spoil the kids, and I was just stuck in that rat race trap.
Yeah.
But I was scared, I was sad, I was embarrassed. So I'd hide from Jackie, I'd spoil the kids, but then sometimes I couldn't take the kids because I couldn't afford it. Like Oscar's soccer, for example, we'd pay off his whole year's subscription to soccer. We'd have to travel all the way an hour and a half to a game. And I couldn't really even afford the fuel, but we still juggled all that. But you're there, but you're not there. You're stressed, you're hungover, you're like a caveman.
It's so nice
You don't
to
enjoy your time.
not have any inhibitions. We talk about everything. We talk
Absolutely.
about money easily. We talk about cost of things. We talk about what we should and shouldn't do as a family, which is really unusual. We've just had a new girlfriend come into the family, and she said to us, which we hadn't realised because it's our normal way of life, but she's like, I've never been around people that talk about money so easily. Because we started
really?
talking to her. She said something about infinity, and I thought, here we go, we're on the way to the
So
beach.
she'd been in the family.
We
This
told
is
her-
with young Damon, because
Yeah.
young Damon had a girlfriend for 3 years and broke his heart terribly.
Oh, they busted up.
Yeah.
The one that we talked about keeping forever.
Our first breakup.
And look, unfortunately, they lived in two
Different
different townships,
locations,
etc. And she was very vision focused on her career. So I'm really proud of her for that. She's going to go all the way, but just on her own.
Yep.
So, he was basically coupled up into Jackie crying and whimpering. He was a mess. And thanks to this gorgeous brother of his and the way we go about things in our family, he stood up. He's now obsessed in his body and health. It's incredible to watch. And he runs his life now, G, thanks to you, without question. and he's going to love this call out right now. So if you could say, good on you, Damon, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Because
He might not like everyone saying that he was a blubbering mess, but
oh,
thanks,
no, he
Mum and
will.
Dad.
He
Yeah,
dropped rock
thanks,
bottom,
Dad.
and he'd already experienced that with his brother's situation.
Fair
So, initially back 12 months ago, all the kids got to come up and attend one of the situations. He went home then. He would not work, and he'd just turned 16. He got 2 jobs.
Yeah.
He saved $5K.
No,
And-
tell the story behind the 5K.
Sure. So
Yeah.
so he saved $5K in Woolies. And the reason he saved $5K, I said, do $5K by Christmas and we'll match that $5K. So, look, not everyone's in a financial position to do that, but pick different ways of
Well,
doing
you
this.
weren't a couple of years ago.
Absolutely.
No way.
But now, thanks, as we were just saying, the empowerment of having access to money and using it more wisely, you get to make different choices. So young Damon was energised to go, right, if I work, I can not only match this guy, I can outrun him, right? I'm going to have a better story than Oscar.
okay.
So sit with G. I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to do these things. And I'm going to do it quicker
bit
and
of healthy
faster.
competition.
Yeah,
in the family.
always.
It's always good. Always
Similar ages too, because it was 16
Yeah,
and
he's
16.
16
Totally.
now.
So he started at the same footprint.
Yeah.
So, into the gym, into Woolies, like he's working full time nearly over the Christmas break.
Okay.
So we matched up that 5K. And what that plan was, which was so beautiful, they'd watched Oscar do a share fund, which
Into the
pays
funds.
12%.
Yeah.
And it's been incredibly successful for the young guy. He's got his first deposit.
Yeah.
So Damon and the 21-year-old gorgeous Anton, he had been in the background doing his will and deal and being a
Listening to
middle child.
everything. Yep.
I'm going to do a deal for 5K match with mum and dad. That'll get me to 10.
Yeah.
He saved another 3 himself.
Yeah.
He went to his 21-year-old brother,
merged
got 10 out of him,
Yeah.
and now they've done a 20K at
combined.
8%, 12
How good
months.
is that?
So they
And-
merge forces.
And
Absolutely.
what we love about that is it doesn't have to be, your first property. It
So the
doesn't have
3
to-
oldest boys are all invested.
Absolutely.
And
All
they- and they
infinity,
proudly
laser
say-
focused.
Anton says, proudly he's an investor because he's
Yeah,
invested his
absolutely.
money. And it's all because Oscar started this journey for all of us and he's forging ahead, as you know. But the ripple effects throughout our family have been phenomenal. And that in itself
and
is
it's
one
not
And
story.
just money.
so Big D's got a new partner. He's got a new missus.
He
Yeah.
has. He's got a lovely young lady.
And what's he doing in the gym? Because he's already Derek Zoolander. He's
my
already a
gosh.
beautiful male model.
works
we
out
are
every day.
talking, front of Vogue. He is out of
And he
control.
doesn't know
He's
you're
looking
doing
good.
60 strong yet, so
No, he doesn't.
he'll
He
amp
doesn't.
it up. But
That's right.
that's
Right.
where he directed his energy. And that kind of comes from you too, G, because throughout our Infinity journey, we've had the opportunity to do 75 strong and 60 strong, and that was all you inspiring us. I
and,
never would have done that.
As we film this podcast, so proud to be with you and trying to help any strangers out there. Why? Well, the why is Oscar handed him some podcasts. Many of those were infinity based.
Yeah.
And that just picked him up in that very dark moment, no matter what that dark moment is.
Inspired him.
And inspired him to go, you know what? Why lay around feeling sorry for myself?
Yep.
I'm 16 years old. I'm going to bust my balls and take my brother out and be
Yeah.
better and faster and
Be-
stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he went out and met, a lovely young lady, and he's truly thriving at Woolies. Like, they love him. They're just constantly on the phone, and he outpacks everybody, and he sets new targets of being faster and quicker. And
They actually
it's
had to stop
exceptional.
giving him shifts because he was at full time
Totally.
over the school
You
holidays.
know, he'll kill me for this, but why doesn't fucking G follow me on?
Oh, yeah, Insta.
On my Insta, like, what the hell?
Come on, G.
I said, when you're worthy, he will.
He hasn't slid into my DMs, so I don't know.
He said
That's
Beck,
it.
He said Beck follows him, but
Oh,
G
does he?
doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's a bit hard. There's a couple 100,000.
I
followers,
know.
Right?
We say
So
that.
I don't like someone comes and follow. You don't really see it. You know what I
course.
mean? But
Of
I'll
course.
keep an eye on it.
But yeah, it's much
Why
broader
don't
than
any
that.
of his incredible good looks rub off on me?
That's right.
Okay.
If you have a reason to change, then you'll make that change. And
Absolutely.
he
It's
had a reason.
I was
so
going to
he-
say it's interesting that
Gotta
he
have
hit,
some hardship,
like
G.
so you hit rock bottom, and until I try to explain to people,
Yeah.
if people are just bobbling along like a rubber ducky along the stream from bank to
Yeah.
bank,
Yep.
they don't actually have enough pain to grow exponentially.
Absolutely.
When you hit rock bottom,
Yep.
or he hits rock, and it's something traumatic, which a partner breakup after a couple of years and love of your life and your team, that's pretty rock bottom, right? Anyone who's been through life that's old has experienced it.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting that rock bottom is enough for him to then obviously get asked. And you've got some good support there.
Yep.
You've been through it yourself, Oscar. It's you've got to have some pain to really be prepared to make enough change to gain.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you just bobble along.
Yeah, well, then there's a reason behind what you're doing. If you don't have anything to work for, if you don't have anything to go through life for, then you can just stop and give up and be lazy, and there's no target.
Well, let's talk to that, because you set some pretty strict targets. So 16, you watch mum and dad experience this and come along.
Yep.
You set yourself some pretty big targets to invest and then to get your first property and all that. So let's talk through that journey of when you decided, right, I'm going to start saving and get my first property, to then late last year, 2025, you've purchased your first property.
Yep.
Let's talk through some of those numbers quickly for anyone tuning in. You set yourself a target. Remember, you reaching out to me, and I'll let you talk to what my amazing financial tip was to you.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a very technical tip for those tuning
It really
in. Right?
is.
You want to get your pen and pad out, because it's quite detailed when Oscar explains it. But talk us through that, mate. At what point did you go at 17, 18? Right, I want to get to X, and talk us through that journey of one job, two jobs. How did you get there?
And the naivety of setting those targets.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, first off, leaving school and knowing I wanted a change, but not really knowing what that change was just yet. I just knew that if I wanted to make a change, the first thing I had to do was just work hard for it. So leaving school, going full time, saving every cent that I can, not knowing really where that money's going to go, but knowing that if I can save that up, then as long as I surround myself by these people and by what mum and dad are doing, then I'll figure it out as I go, sort of thing. Continue to saving, being introduced to this team and this community. I managed to save up my first 50K.
Well done. At how old?
17, turning 18. And
some people go, oh, yeah, mum. Hey, not everyone lives at home with mum and dad.
That's right.
Some people get it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
For the average family that are looking after things, sure, you worked hard.
Yep.
You saved up. Okay.
And I'd already previously had about 12 or 13K in my account.
Yeah.
I've always been a hardworking kid. I would referee futsal when I was 11, 12, before I could get an actual job. And then I worked at the cinema and did a year and a half at the Woolies Damons now. And always had that hardworking trait growing up. But having a reason behind it just pushed that along even more. So saving that first 50K, obviously it wasn't enough to sort of look at property. So I sat down with you and said, listen, G, I've worked hard for this. It's the most money I've had in my life. I'm not really sure what to do with it. What can we do? So we worked out to put it in the fund.
Mortgage fund.
And that earned me money every single month. And that was incredible. And I became an investor. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to these events. All these people are buying properties. The look on their face, the happiness, the changes in their lives. I want to do that. I'm going to inspire.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to do that. I want to go forward and do that. So I shot you a text. I think I'd had about 70K by then, and said, gee, what can I do to get this property? What the hell's going on? Why can't I be a part of this? What's going on, G?
Yeah.
And
Tell me what to do.
your financial advice that you were just speaking about
Very,
was
very,
very
very
detailed.
May we say,
Well-
G, he was a bit pissed off in the background with the G-man, which
Oh,
had just
that
fucking
took a
pissed
while.
him moving.
Can we get this property?
So we'll call it financial. It's life / budgeting / just overall advice,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
almost a bit of parenting / uncle advice.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I've got 70 grand. I want a house or a unit.
Exactly.
What's the secret?
Yeah.
And
Where's the
it's-
magic sauce?
It's almost like I'd worked hard, don't get me wrong, but like I'd still have my afternoons free. I'd go to work, I'd come home, I'd hang out with my mates. Like it wasn't like I wasn't flat out. Like I worked my day-to-day job, but there wasn't really that sweat and hard work. Anyway, I'd sent you that text and you just replied with as simple as, sorry, mate, there's no magic sauce. Head down, bum up, get to work, keep saving. And I
Such
was
a
like,
smart man.
where's the magic
And
wand?
by chance, Jackie was standing at the sink. I was on the opposite side of the bench, and he just goes, "What the fuck?"
What is this?
But
What is this?
that's all I really needed. Like,
How long did it? I mean, because it would have been what the fuck, fucking. How many hours, days, weeks? How long did it take for you to go? Because I gave you a punch in the face,
Yeah.
right?
Sure did.
Yeah.
But I had to give you the punch in the face of there is no magic wand. It's money mental, not money magician.
Best thing you could have done.
Like I get it. Everybody wants everything
Oh,
now.
for sure. Now.
And
Get
I
rich
talked
quick.
about this. I said, do you think
Yes.
we've lost the ability? Everyone wants get rich quick. And
Yep.
it's not. It's hard.
So, gee,
it's slow.
Gotta work
It's
hard.
painful.
That's right. So
How long did it take you to take that punch in the throat?
Well, I just, like, obviously I was a bit put down at the start and was like, well, this is a bit disappointing. But then you read it again and you're like, it's incredible that this is the advice you need. This is advice anyone needs. Like, this is just the real raw reality of now looking back at that time. Like, you knew exactly what you were doing when you said that.
of course you
Yeah, you did.
Maybe.
Yeah, you did.
So
And
what
what
was your
you-
reaction? What did you do?
I did exactly what you said. It would have been 2024, end of 2024, when we had that conversation. And we were about to head on a family holiday, so we did that. And then when we got back, I reflected and I said, all right, G's told me to do this, and is this really what I want? Yes, this is what I want. So how am I going to make this happen? So I went out and I got a second job at a warehouse, a local warehouse.
I'd call that head down, bum up.
Big time. Absolutely.
First off, I got an interview with them. They weren't getting back to me. I was so eager to get this job and get this money rolling that I'd go there nearly every day after work and knock on their door and say, hey, when's my interview? Hey, I'm Oscar. And I literally would...
The
The
I
poor
introduced-
secretary literally went, oh, Oscar, I am so sorry.
Persistence beats
I would go-
persistence.
Everybody knew him by name.
I would go around the office and introduce myself to everyone, and I would figure out when I was going to get this interview. And finally, eventually, from that persistence, I got to sit down, and they were blown away with me, and they signed me up right away. I think I started the next day, and I would just have one shift, and then it sort of worked out perfectly with my schedule. I'd have all day work with Dad. We'd get up, we work out of town Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I get up with Dad at 5:30. We'd drive down to work, start at 7, finish at 3, get back home at 4:30, and then I'd start my shift 5 till midnight on Monday night.
Wow.
At the warehouse. And then Tuesday, obviously work all day, same hours with Dad, and then I'd have soccer training Tuesday night. Wednesday is exactly the same as Monday, 16-hour day. And then throughout the week, and I'd have a smaller shift on the Friday. So I'd be doing an extra 20 to 30 hours a week at this second job.
So almost 2 full-time jobs.
Totally.
Pretty much.
Totally.
I'd-
Mixing soccer at that stage,
Yeah,
Exactly.
you
more
would
than
too.
full time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would even pull the occasional soccer training, finish at 9, head straight to the warehouse and do 9 till midnight or 9 till 1 a.m.
He'd
because
go
they
to the
need me.
change rooms, pull on the fluoro, and they're all like, Oscar, you got some serious issues, mate. We're going to the pub.
Like,
you know?
looking back now and them seeing my success from that period of hard work, they're all like the real ones are all like, well done, mate. Like
Yeah.
we can now see
so
we now
proud.
see why you did that hard work and you didn't just go to the casino with us and blow it all. You didn't go out every weekend. And when we said, why aren't you having another drink? We now understand why, because you've made the right decisions, and they're all jealous and they're like, where's my property? Like, and
Hey,
And
down, bum up.
there's through this journey, G, there's been plenty of people interact with in the community and even in the public, you know, bad parenting and you're working him too hard and he's going to burn out.
So you're forcing him to do the extra
oh
shit.
Yeah,
my
they
God,
were
there's no
bagging
such a
us
thing.
out.
This is
But are you forcing him, or this was his own?
this is Oscar on his own
He's
journey.
driven. He's passionate.
You
He
know.
wants to do this.
G said, I'll do,
Head down, bum up.
and look at the rewards. And he's got a lifestyle beyond rich and famous. Like the way he rolls is.
Japan twice in the last year.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want to be part of some of the community events and some of the events that Infinity hold? Look at the Christmas party.
It also has been a reflection from the community, though, hasn't
Absolutely.
it, mate? Like, it's been
It's
The support
phenomenal.
is absolutely
in
incredible.
February, when I started my second job, I started a weekly post with our community privately. And every single week, I'd do a little update on how I was going and what I was doing. And it sort of got a couple of likes here and there and go, Oscar, well done. And then it just built up and built up and built up. And then as I would get closer to my goals, I was like, all right, I need something for them to look forward to. I need something for me to look forward to. So I set a goal of 100K before my 19th birthday, which was July. So not that long, really, but I managed to go week by week and update them week by week, and the excitement grew, and we hit our goal a month before I'd planned to. And the community just got around me, and that was one of my biggest drivers, was our community pushing me to keep going. When I'd feel sick or when I'd feel like, what's the real point of this, they would push me forward
And
to
these
keep
weren't
going.
rosy posts. Sometimes he'd admit how tired he was, exhausted he
Yeah,
was, etc.
absolutely.
And hundreds of people every week would write comments and participate.
Keep going.
He would honestly get cold calls, and people are like offering him all sorts of things, or just mental health care or support, or it's
I've
just
seen people offering him jobs, hey? If you
totally.
you want to pack up your life and
Yeah.
come to Sydney or go
Absolutely.
here or go, Dad's going, no, I need him on the
Yeah,
tools.
leave him alone. Absolutely.
But it was 100K, and we'd hit that goal, and it was incredible. And I was like, sweet, all right, I've done what G asked.
I'm ready
done
to
the
go
hard
again.
work.
Yeah.
Let me shoot him a text. Let me talk to him at the next event. What's the plan? And that was around about July sort of thing. And I was like, sweet, done the hard work. Let's see what the big man says.
Yeah.
Anyway, we caught up an event, and we kind of had one in mind. And anyway, it just wasn't good enough. It didn't really match what we were looking for. And you'd told me to keep saving, keep working hard, don't quit the second job, keep going, and see how much you can save before November. And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
And then you said,
It was
how
a
much
quiet
you
plane
thinking?
flight home.
This guy's fucked.
Remember you said,
Yeah, I was
How
like,
long's a bit of string?
yeah,
exactly.
You said to G, what sort of price are you thinking?
I was
What sort
like-
of money are you thinking, G?
is this just going to go on forever? I'm going to have 500K in my account and no assets at all. But I trusted the process, and I kept working hard, and you set me a crazy goal, and I smashed away the hours. I did some extra hours. I remember doing plenty of weekend hours.
Which also, just to jump in, improved my business and my determination. So not only did my business that employed Oscar have to supply income and standard wages, we then done some side hustles to say, you know what, let's go and do a weekend job.
Yeah.
Let's split
Do more work.
50-50. Absolutely. And it just turned things on, and then it improved the whole family again.
It goes both ways because
Sorry, Mum.
throughout Oscar's journey and talking about it so much, you know, he inspired me to go for a bigger job as well at work because he was pushing himself to his absolute limit. So I started to reflect and think, well, what can I do? Like, I want to jump on this. And it's kind of like it's a friendly competition, isn't it? Like just pushing ourselves to be better constantly. And
It's a unity. We're all pushing each other to strive to be better.
Yeah, not a competitive family at
Oh,
all.
not at all.
No, gosh, no.
So what did you get to, Oscar?
Yeah, keep going.
So I managed to go from 70K at end of 2024 to save about roughly over 30K from February to the end of June, which is crazy. Like I'm only an apprentice chippy. Like the wages aren't the best. It's the extra hours that I do at the warehouse that I'd get some loading pay and things like that. But all those hours combined, and still doing the 60-hour weeks plus even 65-hour weeks if I do weekends, etc. All the way through to November, and then finally having our event in November and hitting you up and saying, all right, this is the final straw, G.
Please, for the love of God.
And not only was I completely blown away with the whole build-up, I was over the moon. I managed to save up to, I think I got to about 130K, which is insane. Like looking back, I'm like, how did this money even go into my account? But then reflecting on all the hours that I did and reflecting on how long I've had the 60-hour weeks and how long I've done the double shifts, it all added up. And
Why didn't you give up the first time when I told you to keep working harder?
The events.
Most people would.
Oh, totally.
Absolutely. The events in the
easier way.
community, you see it every single time, and you don't see it even just in person. You see it online. You see the stories. You see people crying because they've paid off their mortgage. They've just bought 2 properties. They've bought 3 properties. Even though you were pissing me off a bit, I knew.
Only you. I mean, come on. I pissed off a few more people than that.
I knew that there was a plan at the end, and I knew from even your message about head down, bum up, I knew that had come off and that had worked, and I now understand the real meaning of hard work and earning
Best
that money.
thing you could have ever said, G.
It just
And just really respect and trust you too, hey?
but sitting down.
But then the second time, you're like, oh, fucking, how long's a piece of fucking string? How long's this? Why didn't you give up then?
Yeah.
I'd come so far.
But you thought about it. You thought about it.
A little bit.
I'd come
It's like
so
me
far.
asking
There
Beck
might
on-
be something
It's like
in
me
this.
asking Beck on a date for 6 months. Oh, fuck, I'll give up.
I knew that it was.
You were close.
Oh, yeah, I knew that I was close, and I knew that it was going to be worth it, and I knew that, like, you'd apologise that you said it was going to happen then, but you said, listen, mate, if you do the hard work, you keep going,
Yep.
you don't give up now, and you just keep pushing, I promise you it's all going to come off in the end. And your
Well,
words
and
couldn't have been more true.
And I'll go back a step. I could have helped you get something back then that I didn't think I said to you, I remember at the event on the floor, we're talking there, it was everyone around. I said, I'm not really comfortable of what we were going to do.
Yeah. You
I said,
that.
whilst it's great, I don't think it's exceptional for your first step.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That was, and I said, and I've got something else in mind, but you're going to have to keep going a little bit further, a little bit more. And the market had moved. Real estate market in Australia for homes had moved crazy figures, right? And
So what
in
you
that time.
originally planned had
Well,
gone
it
up.
was just moving so much, so quick.
Yeah.
And then I knew that we had some other stuff we were looking at ahead of time, like, oh, that could work, or that could work.
That conversation we had put like my stresses and my concerns at peace, because I'm
you had a bit more detail.
I was
obviously.
like, if G's not happy with it, then I'm not happy with it. And if he tells me that he's got something in store for me that he's really excited for, then I'll do whatever I need to get that.
Yeah. we
And you
trust
trusted that because of the community and the 7-8 year clients.
Yeah.
We all get together and we talk about, does this really work?
And we
Really,
know.
it works
Well, I mean,
exceptionally freaking
You got
well.
Megan and Jeremy downstairs. You got
Absolutely.
Craig and Kim downstairs.
Absolutely.
You got Christine. I mean, half all the clients end up fucking
All
working
become
here.
employees. Absolutely.
we know how brilliant you are, though, G, at the end of the day. We know he's in good hands, because people have said to us along the way, aren't you worried about him buying a house so early? We're like, no. Like, we could not trust you more.
And over that 3 years watching Jackie's and my success, not only in saving, but how many properties we started to achieve, the amount of holidays and access to just sheer joy and happiness. It's
and
incredible.
it was funny because that particular REM where G showed you the pictures on his phone when you weren't going to
Absolutely.
buy, you started showing Oscar a little bit about
I said,
one of the properties.
Yeah, I said, maybe I'm
Yeah.
working on this at the moment.
And what ended up happening after that, because of the job that I'd got and the higher pay rate, suddenly our finances were
Your
better.
capacity was high.
And
Yeah,
our capacity was
absolutely.
high. So we had
They
been
were able
offered
to buy as
an
well.
opportunity to buy in that exactly what you had showed
Yeah,
Oscar
yeah.
on the phone. And
that-
so then I felt bad because I'm like, hun, what if Oscar doesn't buy?
They didn't tell me.
What if we buy this?
We were both pounding away, so excited.
'Cause it was in
Our
November.
biggest purchase, like
Yeah.
$1.5 million purchase, so excited.
So excited.
We couldn't say shit for a
So
show
we
under
didn't
this
want to
bloke.
say anything
Because
because
I hadn't heard anything about my property. They'd heard that they're going to buy in the place that you showed me I was
but
going to buy.
we didn't want
in.
to tell him because we're like, this is not about us. We are
They're
not.
like, this is Oscar's moment. We
Oscar's
can't
moment.
let him know, no matter how excited we
and
are.
it was right up to the REM, wasn't it? Where you were somewhere. Where were you? Because we went on a class with G. Where did you go? And we talked to you on the phone. Oh, were you with?
I was in Japan with Anton.
So he went to Japan with Anton, and he was coming back. He planned his trip around Japan so he could go to the November REM. And so he was overseas with Anton and still didn't know if he was buying. So we'd done the weekend masterclass with you, and you had said, we recorded that session, and you'd said in there, Oscar will be buying at the next REM. So I sent that little snippet to Oscar, and that's how he found
Oh,
out.
you fucking surprise ruiner, you.
But it was so beautiful because he cried, and I took a photo, didn't I? Because you're like, oh my God, I've been feeling sick. I've been so stressed.
But there was also that, like, am I really?
Just kidding.
Like, this sounds familiar, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what you
Geez, at
did
it
say.
again.
You did say that. Even
But-
when on the way to REM, you said, oh, Mum, I'm not getting myself too
But
excited just in case.
going back to the property that you showed me, that I thought, okay, I'm like talking to people and saying I might be getting sort of like, this is sort of the rough idea, and having that property in mind and that position and everything in mind. When I went to my meeting, I'm like, well, I already know what I'm getting.
It
And
wasn't that at all.
then
was it?
getting the full plot twist that it was something else. And then sitting and listening to Lou and going down everything about the property and the build, and I was just in pure shock of what I've been offered, and like, oh, this is really nice. Who's buying this sort of thing? And it was like, oh shit, this
And
is.
even though that was
this is
the
mine.
dream, and that was what you were building towards in that moment. Remember, I took a photo of your face, and you were just
I
like,
got we call it the Spinkterpucker moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mum captured it perfectly on camera.
where he's
And
actually gone, oh shit.
Shit just got real.
Yes,
It really
very
did.
real.
Nah, just kidding. Save another 50.
But all the hard work and the whole build up of this massive year just gone, it was all worth it in the end. And having being so proud of myself that I was able to achieve that, and in that short amount of time as well. put everything into perspective that it is possible. You just got to do the hard work.
Just the professionalism of everybody around him, you know, from clients,
Such good hands.
you know, coexisting people within the business, the staff, everybody that needed to be there just to help him or put him back on track. It aligned perfectly.
Beautiful.
And, you know, we all trust you, G. It's as simple as that.
100%. And we all got to buy.
Absolutely.
We
We
got to
all
buy,
come
he got
home
to
with
buy.
more properties. So it's a
Successful
win-win.
weekend.
It's the best weekend.
I want to jump into some other parts of the journey here because USA.
Oh my gosh.
USA,
yes.
all right.
I want to jump into that part of the journey with us here. That you guys were part of a core group of clients. We have, you know, thousands of clients in the community members, and at all of our events, we shuffle it around and have, you know, sometimes 50, 60 couples or families come along and all volunteer to share because they're so amazed with where they've been. And we have different avatars, you know, families of 7, a single person, a young person, an old person.
Yep.
You know, we have different nationalities and race, really all sorts of stuff, right? We really blend it up. And you guys have been pretty consistent in that journey of sharing because it's a really cool story, especially for large families going, oh, what's our excuse and
Yeah,
feed
if we
and
can
this
do
and
it,
that. Yeah, right?
anybody
Family
can
of
do it.
7,
Yeah.
then come on. So you guys were part of a group that came to the USA with us, right?
Yeah.
And I really, really hope this helps our new USA community members and fam because you're able to come over with a bit of a group. We call it like a beta test, and you're able to watch me present how we do what we do to pay a mortgage off so fast to a couple of different groups of Americans.
Yep.
How did you find the debt reduction, the money management? How did you find that? Did it or did it not translate in the USA?
It was a little surreal and quiet when we first presented. You know, you had a couple of American colleagues there, and they done their sort of opening pitch, and then it just the room was a little bit vague and cold. We were sitting in their workplace.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think the difference was for me when you do that presentation, it's normally amongst people who've done the class, they've chosen to be there.
Yeah.
And these weren't those clients. These weren't people that had locked in and said, "This is
They
what I'm
just
doing."
got told that some bloke was coming in to talk.
So
to
they're
them.
a bit
they're
like,
still
yeah,
new,
this is
right? They're still
arms
just
forward.
yeah.
And I think
It was very
I think they were
Australian
interested.
way.
They were Aussies.
It was very much like that.
Yeah.
But it was, to be honest, having talked to them after, you know, you'd sort of done your speech and we got to network with them, they just thought it was just another mundane pitch. And they'd recently been burnt several times as part of their
different
life
things,
with some
yeah.
pretty big significant issues that had happened. And it had hurt them. And, you know, the world's kind of in a pretty rugged place. So it was really interesting to be part of. The rewards, though, after you'd spoken and they'd started to really understand it.
apart, yeah.
Absolutely. You talked some technical
big
terms to
shift.
them and got their attention. And then I think the beauty for us, you know, the 15, 20 people that were there, when we went to Q&A and we got to talk about Oscar's story or our family or, you know, the Craigs and the Kims, the Megans and the Jeremys, everybody sat up, they stopped playing on their phones.
Yes,
And we had
definitely.
100% of their attention.
I know for me it was interesting because I watched it transcend borders,
Yeah.
absolutely translate when I finished that because it was very technical, right?
Yes.
And as they engage with yourselves, it became real.
Yes.
It became more than a set. So for me, it was
It
hair
was a
stand
hair
up.
moment.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
really was.
you know,
I'd like to refer it to even going back to how we joined, like looking at you presenting. Everyone was like, "Who is this guy? We don't want him. We're waiting for the next guy," sort of thing. And everyone's not interested. Who is he? He's just another speaker. What's he doing in our office, sort of thing.
Yep.
but why has he got all these people behind him?
Yeah.
Yeah, who are these people?
And they
Yeah,
started
yeah.
to listen more, didn't they? Towards the end,
and
definitely.
hearing your story and then hearing the testimonials to prove that it's real, like that's what got them off their phone. That's what got them sitting up on their seat. That's what
Engaged.
they're really
Yeah.
engaged, and they're like, "Oh, this is quite interesting."
And you know what's really funny about this? In Australia, we have to manipulate, mold, and really, really actually go and create what we call white label lending products, right? Or change things because in America, we have something called a first lien HELOC,
Yes.
right? So first mortgage security, home equity line of credit.
Yep.
Effectively, that's the product that we use in Australia.
Right.
That
Just
doesn't
labelled
really
different.
exist because of a couple of reasons. In America, all of our US clientele listeners, it's dearer. Let's assume it's 1% dearer because you can use the money over and over and over again without having to reapply.
Sure.
So astute borrowers go, I get one facility, I use it forever and ever.
Yep.
Also, they don't understand I'm doing all the numbers, I'm doing all the rate doesn't matter.
Yeah. Whereas
Everyone's
we're all programmed
so
to worry about rate.
manipulated to think
Very
rate
different.
matters.
Yep.
Rate doesn't matter over 3 to 7 years when you clear a debt and buy another one and another one and another one, right? Yep. Rate matters over 30 or 40 years with this 40-year, 50-year mortgage bullshit they're
Absolutely,
talking
where
about.
we're heading.
So I think it's interesting because I watched give them the technical and then explain to them and they're like, oh, no, first lien HELOC's dearer, right? No, as if you'd want that. To then hear the journeys of you guys using the equivalent of first lien HELOCs in Australia to acquire pay off a loan, then 3, 4, 5, 6 property. They're like, hang on a minute.
Maybe there's
This
something
crazy
in this.
Aussie bugger might actually know a thing or two, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it was quite interesting to watch.
And the diversity of the stories, Megan and Jeremy, the backstory and what they've achieved now, the lifestyle they've created. They're now employees within this beautiful company, Craig's and Kim's. And, a bit of banter between you and them, and you've been around together for years.
And you were so cute apologising for swearing at the
Yeah.
start. That really entertained
Fuck,
us.
I didn't mean to say fuck.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, we're a bit more, us crazy Aussies are a bit more uncouth
Of
than
course,
the,
but
Americans.
these beautiful Americans, they were so humble and they,
Well,
hospitality was incredible.
We think we hear some shit and some pictures in Australia, right?
Absolutely.
But man, they get some crap over there. So I think it's and hence why we want to go really have a legacy play there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Because the market size there of families struggling versus debt level to pay, it's wild.
Absolutely.
And from young all the way through parents, grandparents, like they struggle.
Well, that's what was beautiful for me. And I mean, we were so proud to be there to support UG. There's no doubt about that. But there was one moment where one of the questions was, could we hear about this young fella's journey? And there was a few that I literally noticed sitting looking at their phones that kind of stopped. And I saw that. And I was watching the crowd and Oscar just talked like he did and it was started to sort of throw a few jokes
Yeah,
in.
the phones got locked and put
They
down.
did.
And
The phones got
Absolutely.
put down and next to them and they were all locked in. And then
Might have just been all the females.
maybe, I'm sure. But afterwards, though, we've got this really beautiful photo of Oscar standing there with the crowd around him, just telling his story. And I think that was a big thing for them to
And
think,
instead
he's
of
so
them
young.
just, following mum and dad's footpath, generationally handing down that debt and never considering that they'll purchase multiple.
It's no different in the States, right? But again, hard work is one thing.
Yep.
There's so many bloody hard-working families in Australia, but especially in the States, where their minimum wage is terrible compared to us, right? They rely on tips and this and that.
Yeah.
You could be busting your guts in 3-4 jobs in America, not have healthcare, rely on tips, you know what I mean? Like, it's bloody tough.
Yep.
So hard work is not questionable over there.
Yep.
But it's the knowledge that goes with
What
the
you do
hard
with it.
work.
Yeah, it's not
To not give up
then
when
having the
times are
truth
tough.
of people that have done it and are continuing to grow. And, within our family, the generational change is, here it is, proof in the
phenomenal.
pudding.
Yeah.
So, I think America has a very bright future with Infinity, helping them and guiding them. And, your literacy and your goals over there they're very exciting times.
Yeah.
We were very privileged to be part of it.
Yeah, what's your take on how it's going to translate as we launch in the coming months?
I think it's going to be exceptional.
I think it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely. I think that even from our little test that we did together, the reaction that we got, even though it was a small group
crowd.
and there was heaps online, don't get me wrong, but the reaction that we got from that community of Americans was significant.
And what's possible? The few that we talked about had never thought about what was possible.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing, would certainly help you, Jay, I think, is they come to us as the family and David and Jackie with our backstory, and they got right down into the nitty-gritties of, you know what, maybe I don't need the new truck. Maybe I probably don't need to take that second holiday, or maybe I can change up the way that I'm approaching and start to save and take this literacy advice because it may very well work.
Yeah.
That was really special for us.
We'll have to get you guys back out to the States for a couple of our events there, so
Love
people
Sounds
can
like a fantastic
poke you in the
opportunity.
flesh.
Yeah,
and
That's
we're
right.
real.
check that you're real, right? And paid
Absolutely.
actors. Yeah.
I think
But,
I think that's
it worked
important.
here. I can't see why it won't work exceptionally well there. Yes, they'll have to hard work. They'll have to save some money. But with your guidance and your expertise, and I'm sure you're making great business relationships over there to help that, I think it's a very bright future for Americans.
I found that once the Americans like are listening and they're present and they're wanting to hear what you're saying, they get quite excited.
Yeah,
and
they're
I
less,
found
I think they're less cynical once they understand
they
1 and 1
get
equals
it.
2.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like
once
much
they're
better than
engaged,
us.
here it's all bullshit.
Yeah,
no,
the big
absolutely.
conversations that we had is like in Australia, people think pyramid scheme. People think it's not real, or even though there's proof and there's testimonials, it's all fake. I'm going to go back and do my own thing.
That's
Whereas I
right.
feel like in America, they were a lot more open to the idea.
They're more receptive. Once
they
something's real to them,
understood,
they are more receptive because they are looking for that help. It's tough. It's a tougher market, to be fair.
But
And I love that we could show them that Oscar's on an apprenticeship wage. You know, we're not high wage earners, and yet we could show them that, you know, just
But
hard
like
work.
finding that they are truly, especially that group, are truly excited about this. Excited about
And you had executives, you had university students
Exactly.
working part-time,
That's
or
right.
in a college, uni, school. You had people out of college starting their career. You had such a, I guess, a
Diverse.
very
Broad
broad,
range.
a
Of
very
course we did.
broad,
Yep.
diverse range
And
of
all
people
of them
and
took
life
a little bit,
stages.
but once they locked in, you could just see the change. It was phenomenal.
and you could
wasn't
see
it?
the pure excitement in their face.
It's almost hope.
yeah,
exactly.
exactly what it
But
was.
for
not,
their
but
jobs
not
as
hope.
well.
It was hope supported by
Real people.
and numbers, right?
Yes.
So it almost became a path, not hope.
love that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because it takes me back, but the reason I've shared that is from when you were at Goggins, there was hope.
Of course.
Then there was a clear path.
That's right.
And then there was a bit of hard work and a bit of pissed off in
A
between.
lot of hard work. A lot
But
of
then
hard
there's
work.
excitement,
Which
and
just
then
made the
there's
victory
excitement.
sweeter.
there's fulfillment in what you've done as well.
Yeah,
and I think that after we talked to them and after we put all of our pieces out and they picked them all up, that they knew that this is possible and they got excited about it.
Yeah.
So do you think,
Definitely.
I mean, we've got a sizable community in Australia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do.
Do you think that America is going to be 10x, 20?
100%.
Yeah.
I've talked to Michael and yourself about this a little bit, and we've got some 4,000 plus clients. I seen today we've got another 120 just signing up and starting as we speak. We welcomed and congratulated them, but understand this, 350 odd million Americans on that percentage, mate. I'm very excited to what you may be able to do. I think in the next 12 months you'll
And to
probably
make that-
blow what we've done in Australia over
Well,
30
I
years.
get the community piece excites me as we merge these communities because I actually think that the Americans are a lot more passionate and patriotic in a lot of aspects, whether it be veterans or sport. Wow,
Without
like
question.
sport.
Yeah.
There's so much passion in everything that they do.
There is.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to merge these communities to learn off each other.
It's going to be mind
Because
blowing.
then I look at what we do charity-wise and community-wise, and I'm like, what could we pull off each year
Absolutely.
as far as supporting different causes with
Absolutely.
that joint combined passion, shared and infused?
That's
That
nuts.
gets me.
Yeah, that gives me
totally.
goose- that gives me goosebumps.
And what's exciting for us too here in Australia, and we've spoken to the client base here, we can't wait to do that as well because we'll have so many learnings from them about their culture, their life, what's happening within the world.
And it's funny too because they do a lot of things quite differently to us, and we do them quite differently to them. But then when I take my brain and translate there, I'm like, how do you not do this? And they're like,
What?
Shit, we haven't thought of that.
yeah. But then
absolutely.
likewise, they're like, why don't you do this? And it's like that cross-pollinating of knowledge
Absolutely.
is wildly beneficial.
Yes.
Yeah.
To go, well, how do I do this? Or and yes, our systems and frameworks and all these sorts of things are different. But those learnings are going to be pretty cool as well.
They're going to be amazing.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
We're
It's
so
going to blow
proud.
up.
Very exciting times.
We're going to have to
Absolutely.
find an Oscar 2.0 to get there first time.
That's it.
That's true.
I'm sure there's plenty ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm sure he's inspired a lot, actually, even since we were there in August.
Now, tell me before I wrap up on the American side and jump back to Australia for a second,
Sure.
what guidance could you give to Americans when they're watching the free webinars and listening to the podcast if they're in the USA? What guidance would you give to them if they're like, we've got 50, 60, 80 grand a credit card, we've got an auto loan on our truck, we've got student education debt. I can't see the forest for the trees, they're drowning. What words of wisdom could you share from a family that was in that position just a couple of years ago?
I think before mum and dad get on the more sort of practical financial side of things, I think just advice like you gave me. I think that listening to this community in this group, we're real people. We've got real stories, and there's thousands and thousands of people like us. The only advice I could give you, if you're interested in this and if you want to go forward with this, is don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
If you want to change your life, if you want to change where you're at, go all in, trust the process, and make a difference in your life.
100%.
absolutely.
And an extension to that, from a parental point of view, we had private school fees. We've changed since then and gone into the public system, which we're more happier with. But we had 3 with braces. We had all the same things that everybody else has. Kids that are never not hungry. But as Oscar said, if you're willing to do the work and you're willing to do what you learn,
Absolutely.
the result is
Infinity,
clear.
We're advocates of that. Why? Because we have changed. We continue to grow and change.
Yep, it's evolving.
We set greater whys and
Greater goals.
Tomorrow we jump on an aeroplane for a couple of weeks to go to another Asian country for a holiday.
I was going to say, that's really important for America, Australia.
Yep.
You guys are still having overseas.
Absolutely.
Japan, you're going to Thailand. You're still
Absolutely.
traveling the world. You're still living your life. You just have a structure and a framework
Absolutely.
that is mathematically correct. That if you adhere to it, you win.
Do you know what?
And we get to share more. We get to donate to people, strangers. But for the Americans specifically, if you want something, set a very clear path. Move all the distractions. Maybe change your social circles. Maybe you need to change your employment, and then work with Infinity. Could this company work? Has it got the right mould? And is it knowledgeable enough? Well, yes, it is.
Absolutely.
It works in Australia exceptionally well. It will absolutely work in the United States for you, but you must make a formidable decision, like Oscar said. I want it bad enough,
Yeah,
and I'm willing to take some pain to
Might
get there.
get you guys to do a little 5-10 minute chat on the free webinar
Sure,
as we turn on
absolutely.
in
Yeah, I'd
America. I
love
think
to.
that will help
Absolutely.
people as well, and then they can watch that, process that, they can listen to this or
Absolutely.
watch this.
Definitely.
I think that will help
The more
as
people
well.
we can talk to, because it's exactly what makes we speak to a lot of people that we've changed or made an impact towards, and it's the realness of our story, and it's the realness of our results that is what excites people. And talking about our trip, we went on a trip for a big birthday last January, and there was 9 of us. We paid for 2 girlfriends, and we did not have any credit card. We travelled without a credit card and paid for it in full. And I remember coming back saying to David and the kids, were all sitting at the airport, and I said, "Isn't this ridiculous? We've just done 3 weeks overseas, and we had we still have no
people.
nine people."
And at that airport, you're talking to each of your boys about what their goals are and what they're achieving. And
So anything's
so,
possible.
yes, it's going to be pain and suffering. Yes, there's going to be some hardship, but that just makes the victory sweeter.
Yeah.
But Infinity's guidance and knowledge and your burn and desire, mate, you will not let them fall over. If
Yeah.
they're willing
You're
to get in
amazing.
and back
Got
G and
to
Beck,
do the work. If you're not
they-
going to do the work,
Totally.
I'm out. Yeah.
But if they put their hand up and they stay connected to this amazing team of people and the brilliant staff you have, the sky's the limit
Yep.
for each and every one of them.
If you put in the work and you listen to what Infinity's teaching and you go all in, then if you show your commitment towards Infinity and Graeme, they'll show the same commitment back, and it'll just be a ride to the sunset. Like you,
Appreciate it.
We love that.
I really, we're going to get you guys onto the webinar, and we'll get you back over to do some events there as well for
We'd
the
love
live,
that.
We would
because
love that.
I think that you're really going to, and there's such beautiful people, as you said.
They are.
Once they realise what's real and it's engaged, they are all in. They're super passionate. Aussies are a bit more. Yeah, she'd be sweet, mate. Yeah, throw another shrimp on the barbie.
Yep.
You know?
And then the next thing comes along.
But our American brothers, they're like, wow, okay, and they get real passionate about it. So
absolutely.
I really appreciate you guys taking time to come over for that. We'll get you back over, so some people that hear this and see this can actually meet you guys as well.
Love
So
that.
That'd be
thank you.
fantastic. We look forward to it.
Thanks, guys. Now, jumping back to Australia for a second, I want you to, if there was one young man or woman out there right now, if there was one family out there with 6, 7 in the family right now, I want you to give some words of wisdom for those people tuning in going, nah, paid actors, load of shit, nah, I've seen these videos of people say, nah, redraw offset's the same. Well, clearly it fucking isn't for thousands of us, but what are some words of wisdoms for people? Budget means you got to eat fucking 2-minute noodles 6 ways. Well, apparently it means you take 9 people on an overseas holiday
Yeah.
without a credit card with
Absolutely.
cash.
Absolutely, of course.
Yep.
you
And you
do.
don't have credit cards anymore, and you have multiple investments, and you've paid your home loan off, and you've
Absolutely.
bought
And now
your first property.
generationally.
So I want to wrap up today with some words of wisdom.
Sure.
In no particular order. I just want to jump around. What could you guys share with other people tuning into this? Because they're obviously listening. They're like, I want some financial nuggets of gold, or I want some guidance. What could you share with them? Separate of us. I mean, forget that. Well, look, infinity, this, that. What's your experiences that
So
you could
interestingly,
share?
just in the past couple of months, in the lead up to Christmas, anywhere on planet Earth, it's a very difficult time for all families, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. It's financial hardship, you get emotional, or, there's a bit of mental health trauma there because you've got to catch up with family and what have I achieved throughout the year. So I've crossed paths with several long-term relationships and friends. I've had some amazing phone calls and contact for people that have been 15, 20 years out of my life. And one of the trigger moments in the previous podcast that we did, G, was the moment that I said, I don't pay tax, my business never paid tax, and I had to rebuild my business and move forward. And I took Infinity's guidance for that. And now I buy multiple investment properties and my finances have changed. That gentleman has gone on and he's done a masterclass, and he's got multiple other people that he's passed that moment of that podcast onto. And it took, a whole period of time to answer the questions that he had.
This is a friend?
This is a friend.
Yeah.
But what Oscar's taught me, God love him, is Dad used to run back and try and share it with the whole world and fix planet Earth. And unfortunately, you're selling. So it's not my position to sell
Yeah, all
Infinity.
you can do is tell when someone asks. And it's up to
Absolutely.
them to
And
go
when
do
they're
the
ready, they're ready.
research, yeah.
So what the light bulb moment for him was I just retracted and giving the free content. I pushed him to some podcasts. I thought, you know what, Bill and Sarah, or George and Mary, they're the people that you want to push them to because it's going to suit his situation. And that's developing and working very well. Another gentleman that I caught up with only a couple of days ago, and Oscar sat and watched, Dad in full motion of Infinity. And this gentleman's got a significant amount of money. I've been friends with him for life, and I haven't quite got him over the line yet, but he wants to retire. He's very troubled and trapped, and he's got 100 whys to what if and what can go wrong and why G and what's his driving force. And so I explain your backstory and your hardship, and I talk about Beck and her incredible, brilliant brain and the backbone of the company, Michael Lane's involvement, and the quality of the staff. And I'm finding many people around Jackie and I now, they're watching our lifestyle, our happiness, our marriage, our children, and just our whole prosperity on life change. And
Now they're
instead of me
asking you.
trying to
Yeah,
upsell and push
finally.
forward and brand Infinity, people are coming to us. And quite often we'll sit on a masterclass and we'll jump on and help out. And, some nights we get 50, 60 random friend requests. And honestly, G, I'll go 2-3 days, don't I, mate, at work, and I'll be on the phone for an hour with a perfectly random stranger. And
You guys are too kind.
but it's incredible. I cannot explain to you, and thank you. In my small part of Infinity, I am so empowered and so privileged. Some of these very people, which you've met, Bill and Sarah's and whatever, and they've joined because of us or our story. And we're not selling them anything. We're not trying to teach them anything. We're just saying, this is our life. It's worked for us.
Yeah, well, you find with your family and friends, I've been doing it 25 years, they watch. Naturally, people want to see you fail
Yeah.
because then they're right and you're
Yeah.
wrong.
Absolutely.
When you not only don't fail,
Yep.
when you start to shoot the lights out, that's when they start asking.
That's right.
course.
All right?
So
And they're like,
true.
okay, you've been doing this for a couple of years now,
Yeah.
and it keeps getting better. You keep getting happier. You keep getting healthier. You keep getting wealthier.
Yeah.
And again, it's something, just share, answer the question, but leave it to them. When they're ready, when they're in enough pain,
That's right.
they'll make a change.
right.
If they're flush with cash and they want to retire, well, he can't afford to make a mistake because he's ready to retire, that friend.
Yep.
He also probably isn't in enough pain if you're flush with cash to do anything to have any gain.
Absolutely.
And the truth be told, maybe he just does nothing. Maybe he just literally puts that money into whatever he feels is safe and secure to sleep at night, don't pay anyone, don't get any advisors, and nothing will get any better, but it won't get any worse.
That's
and if
right.
you're comfortable with that, I genuinely say to that person, just do that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, it's indifferent to me. Nothing's changing
Not
in
going
my
to change your
I'm doing
life.
all right, right?
Absolutely.
But I think for the people that are feeling the pain, ask the questions, Do the free webinar 5 times. Listen to 15 podcasts, and there's always a wife's interested, husband's skeptic.
Yes, absolutely.
Husband's interested, wife's skeptic. Watch 10, 15 podcasts.
Yep.
See they're real people on social media and go, well, fuck, what have I got to lose?
Sorry, Os.
You go.
You go.
My recent post that I've just done is the key point of it is to stay open-minded and stay open to new things, stay open to new ideas, and don't be shut off to things that might not make sense when you first get introduced to it. If you're open-minded and you go into a room and you're open-minded, you talk to people, etc., you will learn so much more than being one opinionated, being I know everything. If you go in being the beginner, and you'll learn so much more than being the know-it-all.
Absolutely.
You surround yourself by the right people. I think that's one of the biggest advice givers I can give. If you, like me, I surround myself with this amazing community. I'm surrounded by my family every day doing similar things. My group of friends, my girlfriend, she's an amazing support. I think if you can surround yourself by the right people, if you can be open-minded to new ideas, new suggestions, then the world's your oyster.
Don't know what you don't know.
That's it.
And if you're ready
First you learn, then you earn.
If you're ready to make a change, and you're prepared to do the work and take good advice, well, what have you got to lose? That's what I always say. We're just a regular family that took the right advice and did the work, and the whole world has changed.
You
for
know,
us.
one of the key questions, G, if you could just delve into that with Jackie. You met us. Jackie was, permanent part-time. I didn't earn a freaking cent and paid no tax.
Well, no, you did. But whatever you, and this is the problem for
spent it all.
self-employed. Everything you earned,
Yep.
you spent,
Yep.
so you didn't pay any tax.
Absolutely.
There's no magical one that says I earned 200 grand and I wrote off 200 grand and pay zero tax. If you wrote it off, you spent it.
Absolutely.
In other words, you earned fuck all.
Yep.
And this is the problem with Australian culture, for tradies especially.
Totally.
The tools, the this, the car, the you. Right. If you earn it and you spend it, you made nothing.
Yeah.
You literally spent it all, because to get a deduction, you had that outlay or that expense incurred, and you got a percentage of it back, typically, not all of it, which means you actually probably lost money because you've got this shit or these things that you stopped losing, and you got a percentage of it, not all of it back. So you earned it, you spent it, you got some shit, and now where are you? Nowhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's tough.
Through your guidance and your advice, I'm plenty of friends and work colleagues around us. Jackie, why would you go full time?
Yeah,
Why would
all
you
the
get so
time.
many career increases? And they say, where are you off to this weekend? Sneaking up the Gold Coast. Well, not for that thing again. She's vibrant. She's happy. She's had multiple job promotions. She's earning incredible income. And some of our family and friends are troubled by that, because they're like, well, haven't you got investment properties? And why are you always on holidays? And why are you working harder?
Because we're driven and we're motivated by you and Infinity
You got a
every
purpose
day.
behind
Well,
it.
you got to
Every
remember
day.
something.
What would you explain to
But you
those
gotta
people,
remember-
G,
you gotta remember
why
something.
we're burning?
It's none of their fucking business. Because if you ain't under the roof and you aren't contributing to the household, it's none of your business. Now, if you want to ask a family, hey, I see you're doing really well, could you share how? Sure, they'll share with you. But then go and execute yourself. But if you ain't contributing to the bills, we don't have a mortgage anymore. If you ain't paying the mortgage, if you ain't paying the electricity, the rent, the water, the whatever, shut the fuck up. It's none of your business.
Well, that's what I say.
And what do you want to do? Work part-time, sit at home, and twiddle your thumbs?
Exactly.
You got a beautiful brain. You got all this education. Why wouldn't you go contribute to society and help it work in the healthcare? Why wouldn't you better yourself?
And it is about bettering yourself. It's not just financially, it's so much more than
If you
that.
don't use it, you
lose
lose it.
Of course you do.
I was going to say, our other 13-year-old twin, Jonah, he said in class, they're in year 7, they've just finished year 7, they're year 8 this year, but in class they were talking about themselves, and in his speech he said, my name's Jonah, da-da-da-da, and he said, and be a good person and put your trolley back. And I didn't even know he'd done that, but that's where it ripples through.
It's just a good
It
test.
ripples through. And
It's
I
a good
think
test.
It's not just about money.
I actually watched a guy, because we've moved recently in Little Woolies where we are in the cafe, and I watched a gentleman the other day, and he was coming back from his car, and I was sitting outside the cafe, and I'm having my poached eggs and coffee, and I watched him collect 3 trolleys along the way
Oh, see?
and put them all out the front of it, and I was like, good
He's a
on
good
you, mate. Like,
person.
just that little bit of effort, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But then there's also 3 shitbags who just dump
Dump it, straight in the side of your car.
Well, or some little old lady can't get into the car park,
That's right.
Because there's a
That's
trolley
right.
in the way, you know. So,
But it's the little things like that that do. The kids are
Resonate.
listening. The kids, you know, as we're doing all these
for our
changes.
American friends, that's a cart.
Yeah, that's right.
Trolley's in a
That's
cart.
back. But the kids are listening and the kids watch you. And as role models, now we feel so empowered that we're not just teaching them about money. It goes so much deeper, doesn't it, mate?
Absolutely.
It's about being a good person, giving back. You know,
And you know, just quickly, G2, just touching on part of that credit card debt was paying off multiple private school fees.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
I'm all
just
for
because you can
private
put
school
your
if
kids in
someone...
doesn't
right.
mean you can afford it. They
That's
don't
right.
do any assessment of your income.
No.
They just say,
Absolutely.
yep, your kids can come.
You're in.
I know
off we
so
go.
many people going broke paying for private school.
Yeah. And
They
you know,
can't
it
afford
suits some people. Do not get me wrong. There's some beautiful, you know, teachers within that. Damon's excelling at private school, so we're following through with that. But just a year ago, mate, we said to you, we're going to go into the public system. There's this wonderful little program, specialised sports and academia. Both Devon and Jonah had a trial for that on their own merit.
Yep.
They got that. Mate, they walked away with best and fairest and multiple trophies like your shelf here for the year
Yeah.
in a public mixed school social environment.
Good on
we
them.
couldn't
And
be
they are
prouder.
so proud of themselves.
Having the time of their lives.
And it was $300 each.
Yeah. Good on
So
them.
think of the financial change that the Cherries have been able to implement by that. And look, you know, it's only early in the days. It's the first year in there.
But, we
But
couldn't
it's
be
up to
happier.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they picked.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Guys, I want to thank you for being so raw and open and honest and sharing so much and coming to America and hopefully shortly coming back and
Yep.
sharing in Australia and now America as well. I just really want to thank you for that and being so raw and open and taking the time to answer people's questions and being so genuine, because I know that there's so many families in the thousands of families that's really helped them take their next step. So I just really want to thank you for that today on behalf of everybody. You should be really proud of yourselves, and I'm really, really excited to see what the journey looks like in another 6 or 12 months for you. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of Beck and I and the entire community, because it's really, really special to have so many people so willing to be so open. So thank you.
We need to say
our
thank
pleasure.
you too, because, you know.
We get paid for it.
No,
It's
it's
our
No,
not.
this is
I'm
more than
never,
paid.
I'm never going to not be grateful to you, G. 'cause
That's
you-
right.
It's not a job for us, but it's a job. But we have fun. We all love what we
Yeah,
do, and I
we
think
do.
it's the first time in years that we have an amazing team that are all super competent and they all love what they do, and that's that special spark
It
and the
shows.
momentum at the moment. But thank you guys.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, G.
Cheers.
You're fucking gone. See ya.